For as long as many of us can remember, the story of the Gulf has been about sand, oil, and military pacts, right? But something massive is shifting under the surface, a truly fundamental change in strategy that's completely rewriting what power even means for the 21st century. The whole region is transforming from a bunch of isolated fortresses into one deeply interconnected network.
And this slide really nails that change. It's a tale of two models. On the left, you've got the past, the fortress. That was all about being rigid, staying isolated, and using deterrence to keep threats out. On the right, you have the future, the network. And this is a whole different ballgame. It's about being fluid, about connecting to everything, and finding a new kind of strength in resilience.
So, to really get where the Gulf is heading, we have to understand where it's been. Let's take a minute and break down that old fortress model.
The logic for a long time was pretty simple. National security meant building walls, both real and, metaphorical. It depended heavily on security guarantees from outside powers, and the whole economic engine was built on one thing: oil. And look, that model worked for its time, but it also created a system that was surprisingly brittle.
So what happened? Why did this model that defined the region for generations suddenly start to look, obsolete? Simply put, the world started moving in ways that a fortress just can't keep up with. And that really gets us to the absolute core question driving this whole thing. In a world that's all about the constant flow of data, of money, of goods, of ideas, what good are walls? Seriously, they can't stop a cyber attack. They can't stop a global financial shock or a supply chain meltdown. A whole new way of thinking was needed. And this quote is basically the new playbook. Power isn't about what you can keep out anymore. It's about becoming so essential that everyone depends on you. It's about pulling in the best talent and capital, moving goods and data like nobody else can, and at the end of the day, being a stabilizing force in a pretty chaotic world. The really interesting thing here is how it frames resilience. A fortress, for all its muscle, is brittle. It's like a single thick sheet of glass. If you can besiege it, or cut it off, or even just go around it, it fails. But a network is completely different. It's more like a spider's web. It's designed to absorb a shock in one area, reroute the pressure, and keep the whole system going. It's security through interdependence. And let's be clear, this isn't just some abstract idea. This network philosophy is being built right now with billions of dollars worth of concrete and steel. Let's take a look at how it's actually taking shape on the ground. The main idea here is redundancy as defense. Think about it. Instead of just trying to defend one single vulnerable point like the Strait of Hormuz, the strategy is to build a whole bunch of parallel pathways. So you've got the Saudi land bridge connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf. You've got the IMEC corridor, which is basically a land bridge to the Mediterranean. You have Etihad Rail, another way to get to the Indian Ocean. It's all about making sure there's always another option so that no single point of failure can bring the system crashing down. And the network doesn't stop at the borders. And this is a huge shift in thinking. Instead of trying to push instability away from you, the goal now is to pull your neighbors into the network. By investing in huge projects like Iraq's development road or linking Pakistan into your supply chains, you create these shared economic interests. You're literally building stability through mutual dependence. And that is a much tougher, more durable kind of security. But this whole transformation, it goes so much deeper than just ports and railways. It's also about weaving together the human and even the environmental fabric of the region. So you've got these other two really critical layers. First is the human network. These massive, mind-blowing projects like NEOM in Saudi Arabia or Education City in Qatar. They're all about attracting the world's smartest people and creating these hotbeds of innovation. And the second is something the source material calls the blue turn. It's about rethinking the sea, not just as a highway for oil tankers, but as a strategic resource for food, water, and environmental security. And what ties all of this together, the rails, the ports, the innovation hubs, is this one core idea. Resilience is no longer an afterthought. It's not a patch you add later on. It's being designed into the very DNA of the region's infrastructure, its economy, and its policies, right from the get-go.
Okay, so you have this huge, complex, interconnected network. But how does it actually hold up when it gets hit? When it's under real-world pressure from things like missile strikes or cyber attacks? Well, it's designed to do more than just survive. It's designed to fight back. The key concept they're working with here is called inbuilt active stabilization. And it's a pretty amazing idea. You see, unlike a passive wall that just sits there, This network is designed to be an active, intelligent system. It can actually sense a disruption as it's happening and then dynamically rebalance itself to absorb the impact.
Let's walk through a quick example to make it real. Okay, imagine a major port gets shut down. Maybe a strike, maybe an attack. In the old model, that's a full-blown catastrophe. But in this network model, real-time data instantly flags the problem. The system automatically starts rerouting ships to other ports or shifting cargo onto those rail land bridges. The flow doesn't stop, the disruption is contained, and the damage is minimized. Now, let's be realistic. This vision isn't bulletproof. The network faces some massive risks. We're talking sophisticated cyber attacks targeting all its smart infrastructure, direct physical threats like swarms of missiles and drones, and of course, the growing danger from extreme climate events. The whole point is to design the network to handle these pressures, but hardening it against them, well, that's the ultimate stress test of this entire strategy. So when you look at all this, building networks, managing all this complexity, designing in resilience, it requires a totally different kind of leadership than what we've seen in the past. I think this phrase just sums it up perfectly. The old role was the warden, the guard, standing on the fortress walls. The new role is the weaver. A weaver's job is to skillfully connect all these different threads: technology from the West, manufacturing from the East, energy and data, diplomacy and infrastructure. It's about being comfortable with complexity, not trying to get rid of it. And this quote really just captures the entire philosophy behind this shift. It's accepting that the world is turbulent, it's unpredictable. You can't just build a wall to stop the waves of change, whether they're technological, economic, or political. So the goal isn't to stop them, it's to design a flexible, resilient system that's agile enough to ride them. So we'll end with this final thought to chew on. What if the highest form of power isn't actually about having the strength to win a conflict? What if it's about creating a system that's so interconnected, so resilient, and so vital to everybody that the very idea of starting a conflict becomes unthinkable? That's the really profound question at the heart of the Gulf's transformation.